The question is, where do sales start? We've already shown you on the first two videos that you must start a conversation and you must help them before you can ask them to even consider your solution. You must build a relationship before you sell. And then you must earn their trust, because that's the heart of all relationships. You're doing the same thing. You're not going to get on the phone with us and sign a contract and do business with us simply because we sound like nice guys. You're going to want to get answers to your questions. You're going to want to make sure that this is a smart buying decision for you. And that's fine. Your prospects are no different. What % of your sales start online in some form of research? Now think about that. I've asked that question to hundreds of companies. If your answer is not at the 90+% level, then we really can't be of service to you. But unless you're selling something that isn't very complex, there's some form of research going on. For financial services, I would bet the answer is 100%. That's not to say that 100% of prospects are buying financial services online, because they're not. But I think just about everyone is doing research before reaching out to call a professional. That research means they're going to websites. There's URL level navigation. There's keyword searches. There's content consumption, specifically around their problem. Then there's even solution research. There are plenty of expert reviews. There are client reviews. There are company analysis. There are all sorts of things that they do, and those are the behaviors that lead to a purchase. I promised you in the prior video that I was going to tell you the two things that you must have at the precise moment when the prospect is ready to tender a yes, ready to purchase. You, as a company, as a marketer, must be there at the exact moment with these two things. The first one I've already discussed at length. You need to be in a relationship. And number two, you need to be top of mind. Now, we've already talked about being first and controlling the perspective on how they see this problem and how they see this solution. If you're the first and you build a relationship and you converse with them, you're going to define the value. You're going to be able to set the buying criteria, and every one of your competitors and alternatives are going to be compared to you. That's an absolute. The second thing you need to have at the exact moment when the prospect is ready to say yes is you need to be top of mind. I want you to do a thought experiment and be honest. In the last 24 hours, you've seen hundreds of ads. Can you name one? Now again, I've probably asked that question to tons of people, business owners, C-level executives, from Fortune 500 companies all the way down to little one-man shops. I make people answer. I don't bail them out. We go with that pregnant pause, and there is a silence. And there's a reason that I asked that question. It's not just about building a relationship. You must be top of mind, and people forget. I hope that this thought experiment has demonstrated to you how quickly you forget, because you're no different than your prospects. Memory plays a tremendous role in conversion. Think about it simply. People cannot act on what they forget. People act, prospects act on what they remember. If they don't remember, they can't act. Now your sales cycle may be over a couple of days or a couple of weeks or even a couple of months. From day to day, week to week, and God forbid month to month, they're going to have to remember you. You've seen an ad in the last 24 hours and you can't even tell me what it is. And you've seen hundreds of them. So even if you give me one, tell me what it said. Tell me what the message was about. What was the call to action? It's very difficult. And I want you to be honest, because if you're sitting here listening to that question and saying, you know what, Rule, I get it. I can answer the question. I know the importance of memory. Well, there are tricks you can utilize, and if you own and control the data, you can meet them where they are during their research stage. You build a relationship, and you can consistently put a message in front of them. In the last video, I offered to get on the phone with you and help you identify and be able to express properly your value proposition. And a value proposition answers the question, if I'm your ideal prospect, why should I buy from you rather than your competitor? Now think about this. If you and I, let's pretend I'm a prospect in your business, if I were to look at your value proposition, would I see it differently than you? My perception, my outside perception, might be that the value doesn't outweigh the cost. Picture a scale and a value outweighing the cost. If I don't see that, then I won't buy. But you, the creator, the developer, the person who put their blood, sweat, and tears into this, you, on the other hand, see this and say, this is a fantastic purchase. The value far outweighs the cost. One of the things we recommend is that in a percentage of your ads, be strategic. Tell your prospect about your value proposition. Don't worry about the call to action, but focus on educating and maintaining that top of mind awareness. Why this works for us and doesn't work for your competitors is that we can advertise to the needles, not the haystack, so you're not throwing money away. Because we are advertising to the needles, we can run very inexpensive ads across multiple channels. Not just one channel, but multiple channels. Banner ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, in a series across different ad channels, online and offline, all while being very strategic. You don't always have to beat the click here drum and then build out content. You can take them to your homepage. All you're using these ads to do is stay top of mind. Remember what I said, prospects act on what they remember. Now, there are two things about running ads consistently every day. Imagine your sales cycle, for argument's sake, is 20 weeks. Somebody who is 2 weeks into that 20 weeks is different than somebody who's 10 weeks in and somebody who's 19 weeks in. So how do you put perfect prospect timing in your favor? How can you have perfect timing with each and every person who's in that sales cycle? How can you do this? It's simple. If you're only advertising to the needles and not the haystack, then you can run ads consistently every day, multiple channels, and you can change the messaging. What should the messaging be? Well, I've already told you that you need to state the value proposition or support your value proposition and answer the question, why should I buy from you? State the reason why and then provide proof as to why what you stated is accurate and true. Because the first thing is they have to understand. And the second thing is they have to believe. And the proof is what helps them believe. The proof is when you're educating them about their problem in the building of the relationship. You as a prospect are no different than your prospects. They want to know they're making a smart buying decision. If it's a bad purchase, a discount isn't going to help them. The inverse is true. People will pay a premium if they believe they're going to get something where the value outweighs the cost. So the first thing is to know when your prospects start researching, where they are as they get comfortable with their problem and decide to seek a solution. Then, you're the company that's educating them, building trust and developing the relationship. You're going to have a relationship when they're ready to say yes. If you're running ads every day because it's effective and you're running them consistently on multiple channels, then those ads state the value proposition and back up the value proposition. Then you've taken care of the first thing. The second thing you need to do is answer the question, what percentage of your prospects visit your website before a purchase? Think about it. As great as an in-market lead is, somebody who's actively pursuing a purchase of what you sell and is actively pursuing that purchase from you, there is no greater value to you from a lead perspective. Remember what I said. They research their problem first on authoritative websites. When they come to your website, now they're researching a solution. They're considering buying the outcome they're seeking, the solution to their problem, or the delivery of a result that they want but they don't have from you. There is nothing more valuable to you than somebody who is what we call in funnel. They're in your website. They're on your landing page. They're in your funnel. They're shopping you. It's the person who is at your door digitally. Let's talk about our software for a minute. When we provide our in-market targeting data, if any of those in-market people land on your page, your funnel, we will know 100% of them by name. I'll show you how this one piece of information alone will lower your cost per click at Google and Facebook or anywhere else by between 25 to 75%. Lowering your cost per click means you're going to acquire clients and leads for less. You'll lower your cost per acquisition. You'll have a sustainable competitive advantage. Now, factor in me knowing first when somebody's in market, the ability to own and control the data, to have all the conversations I want, to help build trust, to address their problems and solutions before they even know who you are. I'm going to win. I can offer more value and a lower price and still generate more profit than you. And profit is the key to victory. When you know who's at your website, you can build an offer. There's always friction. Your price is friction. You can't remove price because you can't give it away, otherwise you'll go broke. So how do you overcome that friction? With incentive. Now, incentives can cost money. Maybe you'll throw in a premium product along with it. Maybe you'll offer something a little bit more, which increases your cost. But if you're already operating at a lower cost per click, at a lower acquisition cost, that incentive doesn't have to be offered to everybody. You only offer it to those people who are already engaged with you. Only the people who are knocking on your door, on your website, actively spending time seeking a solution from you. That's why it's important that you know first where all your sales start. Because if you know where the research starts, you can start a conversation and you can stay in front of them to be top of mind. You can build that relationship and remain top of mind. That's why it's important that you know first where all your sales start. You know where the research starts. You can start the conversation first. You can build a relationship and be top of mind. You will have the two things you must have when they're ready to say yes. And if you don't have those two things, you ain't getting the yes. Now, you might sit there and say, Rule, I can put a pixel on my website and I can retarget that. Okay, great. Tell me their name. And that cookie, how long does it last? 4 weeks? 8 weeks? How long is your sales cycle? If you convert that to a permanent record, then you own and control it, which means you can take it to any platform, any device, online and offline, and you're not on the clock. You're not at the mercy of a powerful supplier telling you what you can and can't do, what you can and can't say, and how often. You can go to any platform and start a conversation. You can make any offer. You can make as many offers as you want because you own the record and it's permanent. Think about your company. If you had the names of everybody who's visited your website in the last 12 months, would you be making the same amount of money as you are right now? I bet you dollars to donuts that you'd be making a heck of a lot more money. Now, here's the third part, and this is going to be what we cover in the next video. What you're missing is the power of today's technology, machine learning. When you know who's on your website and you know who buys from you because you have attribution capabilities, meaning you know them by name, and when they purchase, you know that they were somebody you marketed to. Well, guess what? There's an even greater thing. We talked about behavior that leads up to a purchase. When you could target the behavior of somebody who's about to buy, you can start the conversation first. But when you tie that to artificial intelligence, to machine learning, you can drive the targeting and then refine the targeting. Having the ability to know who's on your website, that's the first level of conversion. If they fill out a form, they're better than somebody who visits your website. If they purchase, that's better than somebody who fills out a form and is better than somebody who visits your website. 3 levels of conversion. A click is the lowest, a form fill is the second, and a purchase is the third. Now, think about your business. The sale happens off your website, and there's typically a gap in time between the last time they were on your website and then buying from you. Imagine being able to navigate from the moment they start researching all the way to buying from you, and you know who they are at every single behavior from their research to your website, to everything they did when they engaged with you over the phone. We started this conversation off with a slide in the first video that said, success in business has a lot to do with knowing something others do not. In the last 3 videos, I've told you exactly what you should be doing to be more profitable. In tomorrow's video, I'm going to show you a technology, a structural change that will change marketing and business development rapidly, and then how you can leverage this technology to gain a competitive advantage over your competition. Everybody thinks of the word data. Data is nothing more than part of the solution. When you add data to other data, it produces insight. Success in business has a lot to do with knowing that insight before your competitors do. That conversation is going to come full circle in the next video. See you on the other side.